So, quick question. Is every single video gonna just have comments that are like, it's only gonna get worse from here, Scott. Oh my god, it's the worst thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. Because, come on, guys, make something a surprise for me. Shit. I get it. The things that will happen are a surprise. But I don't need to hear that every single fucking video. I just want... Also, it separates the people who have seen the story before and those who haven't. Because those who haven't, like me, are freaking out. While the others that have seen are like, oh my god, just you fucking wait. It's just silly to me. But that's probably exactly how every episode's gonna be from here on out until we're done with the game. Anywho, back to more sadness. Later, the policeman who came to question me in my bed told me that my mother had left a message behind. Oh, Jesus. After convincing me to run away, she'd written a note stating, I murdered my husband, then took her own life. He showed me her final message. The characters were warped and mismatched in size. It was the writing of someone who lost their grip on reality. And at the very end of that note, she'd left me her usual apologies. Why did it turn out like this? What did we do to deserve any of this? I'm sorry, Yu-chan. I'm so sorry. Those were my weak-willed mother's final words, written in the last moment before her fear of reality overwhelmed her fear of death. The policeman told me that my parents' death was being considered a mere murder-suicide, motivated by their overwhelming debts. The paper in my hand was stained with my parents' blood. Oh, as I stared down at it, filled with self-loathing at my utter powerlessness, I felt something inside me snap and break. Yeah. What's with the long face? None of this is exactly news to you.
知ってはいても、こうして本人から直接聞けば、改めて複雑な気分になるわ。
I mean, it might not be news to her, but I feel like even if you know, even those who have seen the story are still like, ooh, it's pretty bad. I don't think a family tragedy or two was anything out of the ordinary in our company.
まあ確かにそうなんだけれど、こうして見ると不幸の塊が服着て歩いてるような男ね、あなた。
Yeah, that's what everyone in the comments says. You're going a little overboard there. Back then, I thought God hated me in particular. No, we don't speak of God. But I grew out of that eventually. Misery's not exactly hard to find, and everyone gets their share eventually. I just happen to get a whole lot of it in a row. That's all.
それは今のあなただからそう思えるというだけのことよ。
I mean, life's going okay now, I guess. For now, anyway.
私とあなたが初めて会った時のこと覚えてる？
Let's see. Not that clearly, to be honest.
じゃあ次はその辺の話を思い出しながら進めましょうか。コーヒーのおかわりは？
Feel like I'm gonna need it. Sure. Let's just jump into this. Oh, god damn it. Not the 72 Stooges. Oh, no. They just read everything we did. Pretty fucked up stuff, huh?
あのさ、ちょっといい？
Machiro's like, please. Oh my god.
なんか喋りなさいよ。
Didn't have to hit her.
だってこんなユージこんな
And Amane probably feels very, very terrible about it. Considering, yeah. There it is. I knew it was coming. I knew she was gonna say it.
いや、別にそういうこと喋れって言ってるわけじゃなくて、つか泣かないでよ。私が泣かしたみたいじゃないのよ。
Look, Amine, it's fine. Like, all these things happened, but Yuuji ended up turning out to be, you know, the ultimate badass, so I mean, that's something. And besides, let's just go in the basement and... Dude, I'm up on this fucking theory. Ugh, it's fun.
サチ、あんたもなんか喋りなさいよ。
と申されましても。
What the fuck Sachi supposed to say?
なんでもいいのよ。なんか喋れ。
なんか喋れというと、インドの神様か何かでしょうか。
Is that actually a mountain in the Netherlands?
なんでやねん。もう、サチったら、母の歯。
It wasn't that funny.
松島さん、そんなに無理に空気を明るくしようとしないでいいのよ。
I'd be trying to snuggle the shit out of Amine right now, just to be like, look, it's not your fault, okay? You know, just...
だって私はツンデレだから。ラムネの食いすぎで頭飛んでんのか。うっきゃー、本当にだけは言われたくね
That lined it up a little bit.
静かにしなさい。
Never mind, we'll shut up now.
はあ、守備場へ。
Shall we?
それにしても、情報としてある程度は知っていたし、それなりに想像はしていたけれど、思った以上にハードな過去ね。
Shit, man. If the comments are to be believed, it gets way worse.
親の死を見ちゃうってのはかなりきついのよさ。私なんかもまだたまに夢に見るしな。立ち直るのに5年はかかるのよさ。
Just thinking back to the Machina thing, she literally watched her dad die and was in there with him for so long. Oh God. She can relate.
私が和樹を見捨てて逃げたから、ユージの人生がめちゃくちゃに。
She told you to go. Like, it's not like you just abandoned her for no reason. She straight up was like, I'm gonna distract them. Get the fuck out of here. Alright? I'm Kazami Kazuki, Occupation Student Mark 1. I have a plan. And, I mean, she might have had a plan or not. Who fucking knows?
ハマネのせいじゃないじゃん。あんたそうやって何でも私が悪いで解決するのやめなよ。
それは言い過ぎよ、松島さん。
私はこういう暗い空気嫌なのよ。ごめんね、みちる。ありがとう。
Also, what the hell was Amine gonna do anyway? She was gonna get fucking killed just like everyone else would have.
でもこの後は師匠とかいう人に引き取られて、それなりに楽しい生活ってやつをしてるんだよね。
I don't know if that happens right away. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
いいえ、残念だけれど。
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if the story structure would allow for that. Just that right off the bat.
私聞いたことある。確かお兄ちゃんのパパの知り合いの人に引き取られたんだよね。
表向きにはね。
裏向きがあるってこと？
そう。表向きには孤児となった風見雄二を引き取ったのは父親の知人で美術品の貿易商を営んでいる桐原玲という男。
But
でもその正体は世界中の紛争地に兵器を販売する武器商人というかテロリストだったという噂ね。
ま マジでか。つか風見裕二はどんだけ不幸になれば気が済むのよさ。
To the very low of low.
というか、どうしてユージはそんな人に？
I'm feeling some weird shit's gonna happen.
そこまでは私も知らないわよ。簡単な資料をもとに独自で調べただけだし。その桐原なる人物が男色癖と言いますか、少年愛に傾倒していらっしゃったからではないでしょうか。
Please don't tell me that's an actual thing. I will be uncomfortable.
ちょっとサーチ、あんた突然何言ってんのよ。だいたい何を根拠に？
Look, if shit's gonna get as bad as everyone's saying, I would believe it.
昔のユウくんはそれはもうびっくりするぐらい可愛かったですから。
Sachi, stop.
いやまあ、あんたの思い出の中のユージが美化されてるのは別にいいんだけれど、いくらなんでもそんな理由で子供を引き取ったりしないんじゃん。
Oh God, please, guys, don't.
では続きを読みますか？
I guess.
え？
I don't want this.
こちらについ今しがた復元が完了した資料の続きがあります。これをお読みになられますかとお尋ねしているのですが、どうされますか？
Just read it. Let's get this over with. Do it. Don't do the on me. Stop it. Dive on, balls deep. I'm ready.
皆さん黙ってしまわれました。どうかしましたか？
いや、だってね。
自称ムードメーカーのみちる様がそんなことでどうしますか？わかりました。ではこの重たい空気を入れ替えるべく、この小峰幸がギャグを一つ。
Alright, maybe this will help us.
ギャグ？このタイミングで？
Probably not, but who knows?
はい。ではマキちゃん直伝の似ているシリーズから一つ。似ている。マクワウリとマノクワリは似ている。
は？
What?
ごめんよサッチ。普段の私なら大爆笑したと思うけど、さすがに今は笑えないのよさ。
What's the deal with airline food? Right when someone just told you the most depressing story on the planet. Oh God, no. Oh no. I don't want to go back to the past. Can we just continue with the future? With the future? I mean the present. Fuck! I'm pretty sure we've been over this a million times before, but I'll summarize for the record. After killing my father, yes, and driving my mother to suicide, I was taken in by a man named Kurihara Ray, which I'm pretty sure he was named at some point. A fine art dealer who'd known my parents. But I think you know more about Kurihara's real identity than I do, right? Oh God.
ええ、もちろん知っているわ。
Well, it said he was a terrorist man, so that was a weird transition. I met an interesting man today. I remember my father telling me that one night when he came home drunk but unusually cheerful. He'd been introduced to the editor of a quarterly fine arts magazine, to a man named Li Sheng, although he went by Kurihara Ray in Japan. Kurihara Ray was a art dealer with strong connections in many countries, with numerous celebrities and influential politicians as clients. I first met him well before my family fell apart. Not long after the name Kazami Kazuki began to spread throughout the world of Japanese art, the man paid a sudden visit to our home to see her work. Oh God, no. I don't want... No!
すみません、桐原先生。わざわざご足労いただきながら、あいにくと和樹はまだ 学校から帰宅しておりませんで。
God, I'm glad you're dead.
いえいえ、こちらこそ突然の訪問で申し訳ありません。
You're that guy! What?
以前から一度は実物をこの目で直接拝見してみたいと思っていましたね。今日は本物を見ることができましたし、十分満足ですよ。
What was it? Listen. They said terrorists. I was connecting the dots.
ご高名な桐原先生にそう言っていただければ、こちらとしましても大変恐縮です。それでいかがでしょう。娘の絵は金になりますでしょうか。
正直な方だ。
Yeah, because all he gives a shit about is money and doesn't even give a shit when his daughter dies! And all he does, only for a strictly financial standpoint.
ですから私も正直に申し上げましょう。絵の価値というのは、それを欲しがる人間次第なのです。そしてもっと正直なところを申せば、私どもの扱う商品の一部は、ある意味、価値がわからない方がありがたいのですよ。
What?
は
Like, just, I don't know what the value of this is, but I like it.
以前お食事をご一緒させていただいた折にもご説明させていただきましたが、私どもの仕事とは、絵を買い付け、ただ売りさばくことではありません。買い付けた絵に付加価値をつけることがメインの仕事なのですよ。未だ無名の画家から価値の上がりそうな絵を買い付け、それを必要とする人間に高値で売却する。絵画は贈り物として最適です。買い手はいくらでもいます。例えばある種の目的を持った人物に高額で絵を売却します。絵を買った人物はそれをとある人物に金銭的対価を求めずに贈与します。絵を贈られた方はそれを再び私どもに買い取りを依頼し、私どもはそれを高額で買い取る。そうすることで誰もが少しだけ得をします。高級絵画とはそうして生まれるのです。そういう仕組みなのですよ。
Alright.
つまりですね、私どもとしましては未だ手つかずで価値基準の明確でない無名の画家である方がありがたいのです。ではそれこそ子供の落書きでもいいのかという話になるのですが、それはそれであからさまに過ぎる。その点、お嬢さんの絵には人を引き寄せる魅力が十分にあります。
You're damn right it does.
今はまだ無名がゆえに買い手は限られていますが、逆に私はそこに目をつけたというわけで、つまりはお互いというやつですな。
I don't like the way you said that. Please no.
それで娘の絵はだいたいいくらぐらいで買い取っていただけるのでしょうか。
Oh my god, can you please die?
買い取りは売り手のいいねです。つまりいくらにでもなるのですよ。現状この場で金額を提示するわけにも参りませんが、これは長年美術商に携わってきた私の勘でお答えするのであれば、おそらくは数千万の値がつくでしょうね。
Hold on there.
ありがとうございます。
Hold on, we need like clone Zakazuki just cranking out these no, I'm kidding. No. That day after going home at my own pace because I didn't have any friends to play with or any reason to rush back, I just so happened to overhear their conversation from the hallway. Just slink on in. In a way, it was kind of comical to see my father submissively bowing and scraping like a grasshopper, considering his usual I am God Almighty act. But mostly I remember thinking, is this really how adults who make a living in art talk? It was so nakedly cynical that I was too amazed to even feel disgust. Unable to bring myself to walk past the open living room door, I stood awkwardly in the passageway, waiting for the conversation to end. But somehow, Kirihara noticed my presence. He was a sharp-eyed man, I'm sure he is.
Oh yeah?
No, don't touch me. His gaze stuck to me like glue. Kirihara's eyes were calm, yet somehow they reminded me of a carnivorous animal tracking its prey. A chill ran down my spine. My tongue refused to move. It was all I could do to bow my head quickly in his direction.
こちらの少年は
No, get away. Don't touch me.
あ、はあ。和樹の弟でユージと申します。
He's the useless one.
おお、それはそれは。
Oh, I don't like this. I didn't understand what that was supposed to mean. In retrospect, there might not have been any meaning there to find. Oh, he's getting closer. The man named Kirihara, gazing down at me with a praising eye, slipped a hand into the breast of his suit, and in one smooth motion withdrew a gleaming golden cigarette case. As soon as my father noticed what Kirihara was holding, he hurriedly reached into his own suit in search of a lighter.
いや、火は結構。
When he opened the lid of his case, the clear tones of a tinkling music box began to flow out from inside. Oh.
私はタバコを飲まないんだ。坊や、チョコレートは好きかい？
I mean, chocolates are nice. Smiling brightly, he took an expensive-looking piece of chocolate out of the case. Embarrassed to be offered candy by an unfamiliar adult and discomforted by the fact that I couldn't turn him down without being rude, I felt my ears growing hot with shame. Thank you very much. As I accepted the chocolate from Kirihara, I saw my father scowl. Hey, fuck you, buddy. He wasn't upset I'd taken the man's present. It seemed more like bitter disappointment that I'd come home instead of Kazuki. Unable to endure his gaze, I bowed my head a second time, then turned around and fled to my room. Get the fuck out. Whew! Whew! Hide under the bed.
かわいいお子さんだ。彼も絵を描くのですか？
I do not like this man already.
いえいえ、めっそうもない。あれはそっちの才能には恵まれませんで。お恥ずかしい。
I was used to hearing my dad call me that boy with derision in his voice, and to having people say we're not expecting anything you to my face. That was just how adults were. To them, children were just toys or tools. I'd resigned myself to that. And I was a useless tool, a defective plaything. It's okay, we learned to kill, it's fine. Every time that man named Kirihara came to my house, he would send strange glances in my direction. Oh, God. Something about the way he looked at me was definitely different from the other adults I'd met so far. Even at the time, I vaguely sensed the desire in his eyes, and it made me very uncomfortable. Somehow, it didn't seem like the way an adult should look at a child. No, I don't. Look, it could be not what I'm thinking. It could just be something completely just as bad, but... Or it could be everything. It could be everything that could be bad that's happening. But even so, he brought me presents every time he visited, so I never really went out of my way to avoid him. I was a little too innocent for my own good.
今日のお土産もあまり気に入ってはもらえなかったかな？
I don't enjoy anything. No, I really liked it.
いいさ、気にすることはない。秘密はあっても嘘はダメだ、ユージ君。私は君を知りたいんだ。
We need to hop on the wee woo real quick. As Kirihara looked down at me with cool condescension in his voice, eyes, I felt an instinctive twinge of fear.
君はどっちなんだろうね。
Question mark?
子供というのはね、ユージ君。大きく2つのパターンに分類される。
Lay it on me.
自由を欲しがるタイプと束縛を望むタイプ。
I'm probably the more shackled one right now.
君はどっちなんだい？
I don't know.
なら後者だ。
At the time, I didn't understand what Kirihara was talking about, and I wasn't interested in trying to understand. Oh no, that didn't change even after he adopted me. After witnessing the death of my parents, I withdrew completely into myself. When Kirihara came for me in the hospital, I was already a shell of a person. Dude, Swanky place. All right, hold on. As a child with no living guardians, I didn't really have much to say in choosing my destination, but more importantly, I'd lost the willpower necessary to even care. Yeah, like, I feel like once your god dies, quote, quote, and once you see your parents dead on the floor and the ceiling, yeah, you're not gonna be, oh. Oh, this is... Please, God, no. Uncomfortable! Reaching uncomfortable wee-woo levels.
相変わらず無口だな君は。まあそういう君だから私は気に入ってるんだがね。
I need someone to save me ASAP. You really do have the face of like a girl's, don't you? On a whim, Kirihara dressed me up in female clothes, suspiciously like a certain sister I used to have. He liked the effects so much that from that day on, I was given nothing else. See, that's why we saw that in the intro. It all's coming together. Still, it was better than being beaten, I guess. But being forced to wear girls' clothing didn't bother me much. But it's still creepy. In any case, it's not like I could have resisted. A child can't survive alone. Unless I have to. I had food, I had walls and a roof over my head. My clothes were fluttery, girly things, but they kept me warm enough. There wasn't any problem.
Yuuji, 君は本当に可愛いな。
Oh, stop talking. Kirihara loved dressing me up like a doll and sitting me on his lap. Lacking the will to object, I did exactly what he wanted. In those days, I was completely hollow. I couldn't muster the energy to speak. Kirihara's caress didn't even register as unpleasant. Emptiness might be another word for absolute emotional overload. Even to myself, it was eerie how calm I felt. My mind was so deeply scarred that I lost all interest in life and death alike. No matter what happened, I just couldn't even manage to care. I was nothing but a defective toy that had been picked up off the trash heap. Kirihara treated me well so long as I was obedient. I didn't say a single word, but it never seemed to make him angry. As if to compensate for my silence, Kirihara would talk constantly.
この国も本当につまらない国になったものだね。いや、それはこの国に限った話ではないか。1974年当時は世界中が楽しかった。まるで世界中が遊園地のようだった。
I listened silently to Kirihara's words, but as always, they were incomprehensible. Then again, it's not as if he seemed particularly interested in helping me understand. I was an object to him, a living toy. For Kirihara Ray, interacting with me was the equivalent of playing with a doll. It wasn't so bad at first. Oh, when I simply had to endure the attentions of a man who saw children as nothing but outlets for his desires. As long as I kept still and didn't snarl or bare my teeth, I could sleepwalk peacefully through whatever remained of my life. It's not that I didn't understand what was going on. I simply chose to accept it. That is, until the day when my unconscious mind rebelled. What do you mean? Kirihara's mansion was often host to a number of adult house guests who always seemed to keep coming and going. One of those men came by on a day when Kirihara was out, taking advantage of the owner's absence to lay hands on his toy. Hey! I'm a toy for one person! No! I should... He was a small man, but so fat he appeared nearly circular. I never saw anything other than a crude sneer on his ugly, drooping face. There was always dark bags under his eyes, a 2-bit lowlife straight out of Central Casting. And as I discovered, he was also a genuine sadist. From what he said that day, it seemed like he'd had his eye on me for some time. This is like the house of just uncomfortable wee-woo. Like, Space Marines, fucking help! I suppose the way I silently accepted anything and everything made me an appealing target. He warned me not to tell anyone, then began to viciously abuse me as if to vent all the accumulated frustration and rage. Ow. Okay. Can we not? Utterly selfish acts of violence directed only toward the weak and powerless. The nauseatingly unpleasant smell of high-priced cologne. Ow. The gold watch on his wrist. Everything about that man, everything he said and did and was, reminded me of my father. Oh, no. No. Stop. Kill him. Kill him! Oh. In the instant I realized that, memories began to flash before my eyes. I'd sealed it all away. Made a conscious effort to forget. By deliberately emptying my mind, I'd found a kind of peace. But that man violently pulled everything back to the surface. Yes, Yuuji. Become consumed. We've killed once, we could do it again. Yes. I don't remember what happened next very clearly. The man was breathing roughly, his face shining with greasy sweat. I reached out reflexively with my right hand, grabbed a nearby pen, stabbed him right into his eye! Yes! I'm all for the murder, apparently. His scream rattled against my eardrums. Dude, he just lost an eye. It was the sound like a shriek of a pig on the slaughtering line, but I don't remember it inspiring any particular emotion. The only thing that mattered was the voice ringing out in my head. Kill. Dude, I feel like I am the voice in his head. I am the demon, and I shouldn't let myself be consumed by it. My entire body was burning with heat. Unable to endure it, I tore off the dress Kurihara had given me, then looked around the room. This is my rebellion. Isn't there anything here I can hit him with? Catching sight of a vase full of red flowers I couldn't even name, I dragged myself sluggishly off the ground and seized it with my right hand. Dude, could you imagine that? He's just like slowly walking and doing the shit while the dude's freaking the fuck out with his eye gone. I have to kill him. As the man writhed in agony on the floor, clutching his ruined left eye with both hands, I struck his head with the vase! You're damn right you did! Bam! Get him! The impact traveled through my arm and resounded pleasantly in my brain. It felt as if my heart itself was quivering. Basking in the sensation of hurting someone, I felt the corners of my mouth twitch upwards. See, I might be saying, kill him, because these people are obviously terrible, but this isn't something we should be doing. We shouldn't even be in this situation. We're just a kid. A smile. Of course, I was smiling. Felt like a very long time since that had happened. At some point, I noticed the gentle tinkling of a music box. I turned toward the sound. Kurihara Rei was standing at the door. When had he returned? Was he just watching me murder this man? I killed one of Kurihara's guests? Was this all part of the plan? He might get angry at me this time. Well, whatever happens, happens. I didn't care anymore. I just didn't care. As the music box's tune echoed against the walls, Kurihara took a piece of chocolate from his cigarette case, silently put it into his mouth, and glanced down at the man on the floor.
殺しちゃったのかい?
Yes. For a moment, I couldn't understand the meaning of his question. I killed that man. I killed once again. My right arm had moved more easily the second time around. In any case, it was probably my turn next. Kurihara would kill me here now. No, he doesn't seem like he's doing that. Oh well, what can you do? What? It's not like there was any point to my life in the first place. But for some reason, Kurihara was smiling. As if to say, look at the mess you made. That's what it sounds like. It's just like, oh, look what you've done, you little scamp. Like, it was the half-hearted disapproval of a man whose beloved pet had stained the living room carpet. Look, I piddled a bit, okay? A wry, almost amused smile. Still sucking on his chocolate, Kurihara surveyed the chaotic interior of the room. When his gaze returned to me, standing there drenched in blood, he burst out into laughter.
やるじゃな ないかユージ。君面白いよ。
I like to think so. Are you afraid? Are you that afraid of death? Better to kill someone than allow yourself to die, Even with nothing to live for, you resist dying so strongly.
だがそれでいいんだよユージ。君は正しい。それが人間が本来持つべき本能というやつだ。
You're not angry?
久しぶりに君の声を聞いたな。壊れていた心が人を殺したことで少しまともに戻ったのかな。おいで、ユージ。
We are a child and we've killed 2 people. I'll give you chocolate. A chocolate. Kirihara beckoned to me with his hand, then sat me down on his lap as always.
いいんだよ。別に怒ってなんかないさ。その男は私も嫌いだった。いつか暇を見て殺してやろうと思っていたが、最近私も何かと忙しくてね。
Oh, so I did you a favor. Sweet, I guess.
そんな私の代わりに君が殺してくれたのだから、むしろよくやったと褒めてあげよう、ユージ。
You're welcome. The man was smiling. There was real joy in his face. It was the irresponsible glee of a man who'd discovered an unexpected use for a toy he'd thought purely ornamental.
よし、ユージ、もっと勉強をしよう。きっと君は誰よりも優秀な道具になれるよ。
Ah, is this where we'll get murder training? A superior tool?
そう。正しきものが正しく鍛え上げれば、君は立派に役に立つ。それとも、このまま愛玩動物のように生きていく方が気楽でいいかい？
I don't know.
だよね、君にはわからない。まあそういう風にしたのは私なんだが。どうせ生きてるのか死んでるのかもわからないような命じゃないか。そんな君を拾った私に対する恩返しだと思って、少し頑張ってみておくれよ。ね
Yeah, goodness of his heart. Yeah, sure. Okay. Come to think of it, he was completely right. A life like this wasn't any different than being dead. If I was going to make a nuisance of myself by continuing to exist, might as well try to be useful somehow. It was hard to imagine the likes of me being good for much, but it couldn't hurt to give it a try. I accepted without a second thought. About a week later, Kirihara led me by the hand onto a small airplane that carried us overseas. I don't know what country we landed in. All I know for sure is that it was a very cold place. In that country, Kirihara was known as, Heath Oslo. Honestly, it's a cool name, but dude, I don't like this guy. And he told me to call him by that name as well. I didn't know why, but I agreed easily enough. It's not as if I'd ever addressed him by that name before, and I wasn't planning to start, so it hardly mattered either way. Oh. Oslo gave me warm clothes, then brought me by the car to a desolate rural town, spreading out 1.5 kilometers in 3 directions. At the center of that T stood a small school. It was an occupational training facility that Oslo had established as a personal investment. A school where you could learn various practical skills, beginning with manufacturing. Li Sheng, Kirihara, Heath Oslo. He was a man of many names and many faces. Although I had some vague idea at the time, it was only significantly later that I learned his actual profession was terrorism. The school Oslo had taken me to was nothing less than a terrorist training organization under his direct control. Well, guess we're gonna be a terrorist for a second. What is this? Having unintentionally revealed a talent for brutality, I was to receive an education in the art of murder as Heath Oslo's personal spawn.
ここには君と同じで親を亡くした子供たちがたくさんいる。みんなと仲良くするんだよ。気に入らない奴がいても殺しちゃダメだ。いいね?
I was gonna say, we're probably just gonna be killing each other. Okay. Just as Oslo said, there were many children of many races in that school whose circumstances were similar to mine. The majority of the students were visibly emaciated, and every one of them had the eyes of a starving animal. For the most part, the children kept their distance from each other and focused on the assignments. We were graded competitively on our performance to determine our relative talent in various fields. Our initial instruction in the use of machine tools wasn't so different from what you'd get in a real vocational school, but it wasn't long before they started us on a brutal physical training regimen. By the time we began learning how to make pipe bombs from easily obtained materials, it was more obvious than ever that this wasn't a normal place. No shit.
学校は楽しいかい？
I guess. Yes. As ever, Oslo was busily flying around the world, but he occasionally made time to drop by and check up on me. I was Oslo's pet, after all. And there were more than a few people who begrudged me at that position. In any group, those who were singled out as special will earn their share of envy, no matter what the circumstances. I can understand the feeling. I'd felt the same way about the attention Kazuki earned within our family. That tension with my classmates sometimes even led to unprovoked outbursts of violence. But I had no choice other than to passively accept the situation. Yeah. Within an organized group, any individual's failures are everyone's responsibility. A poor performance inconveniences everyone around you. Incompetence won't win you many friends. But the opposite was also true. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. When it came to our training, I definitely wasn't in the former category. Since this was all I had, the only thing I was good for, I was able to concentrate fiercely on my task. Well, any task. And I think my results were always at least respectable. Among our numerous fields of study, marksmanship was a particular speciality of mine. Especially at long range. Who would have thunk? When we trained at sniping using sniper rifles, I'd sometimes earn the top daily score. I could do most things if I tried hard enough. And I always tried hard, but that only added to the antipathy the others felt for me. After all, it was a school full of people who'd fallen out of society. Happen puzzle pieces with no place in the world. In that place, the successful always inspired jealousy and hatred. Don't get fool yourself because Oslo likes you. Rather than saying it out loud, my classmates communicated their message by taking advantage of our training to harass me. You're asking to be killed. Sniping? So what? The gun's doing all the work for you. When it was time for hand-to-hand combat training, my opponents lunged at me as soon as the instructor shouted, "Begin!" Each attack an embodiment of their spite. At the time, I was inexperienced and extremely nervous. My opponents' determined and confident movements made them appear larger than they were. Often, I misjudged their approach and took a heavy blow right off the bat. Ow! Since I was small and inferior in physique, unless I could endure that first attack, I'd be pinned to the ground in the blink of an eye. Even worse was the time my opponent feigned a body blow and went for the elbow to the face. When the thud of impact registered, stars exploded before my eyes and my vision shut off as if someone had thrown a switch. I had time to realize I was in deep, deep trouble, but my brain was too busy rattling around in my skull to think of plan B. Hazily holding on to my consciousness, fighting to stay standing. I was rewarded by my opponent taking hold of my head and smacking his knee into my face like some pro wrestler landing a finishing move. Oh, feels bad. The shock shot through my head like a bullet. Okay. By the time I realized the trouble I was in, I was already feeling the ground against my cheek. And with the strange sensation of sand pushing its way into my ear hole, I realized that my opponent was grinding his foot down on my head. Okay, you can stop now. Oh, as my skull creaked under my classmate's shoe, our instructor finally stepped in to halt the match. Oh, please. After temporarily separating us, he asked if I could continue, a question to which there was only one possible answer. I stood up, wiping the blood dripping from my nose with the back of my hand. Don't worry, I got this. I learned. I adapted. I knew why I'd failed. I never should have tried to take his rush head on. Yeah, when the instructor shouted begin for the second time, I quickly started throwing jabs I knew wouldn't hit, carefully measuring the distance between us, the equivalent of firing test shots to a zero rifle. Once I had a solid grasp of the space separating us, I began to move quickly around him, swaying from side to side, imitating a sniper, unpredictably changing location after every shot. God, I'm good at this. It was more effective than I'd hoped. Whether you're sniping or fistfighting, circling swiftly around a stationary central target makes it extremely hard for them to land an effective shot. I mixed feints into my pattern of attack, trying to create an opportunity to close the distance, but my opponent was much larger than me. His reach was too long. I was basically pointing a handgun at a cannon. If he landed a single solid punch on me before I got in range, my advantage would instantly be reversed. Once he had me in a slugging match. Nothing I could do would prevent a massacre. The best I could manage was to stay in constant motion. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. To keep myself from carelessly hesitating and taking that first fatal hit. Keep moving. Always stay diagonal to your opponent. It took a full week for me to learn those basic lessons. And even afterwards, I usually left the daily hand-to-hand sessions battered and bruised. Oh, did I win? That day, too, the sparring ended with me beaten black and blue. Well, shit. Lying flat on the ground with my limbs spread wide. I felt the earth rotating underneath me.
大丈夫？怪我を見せて。
Woman! Properly sympathizing with the way I passively endured those one-sided beatings, a young woman approached me with a first aid kit in her hands. I can't remember her face very well after all this time, but I'm pretty sure her name was Marin. Marin. She didn't have any memories of her past. Not where she'd come from. Not why she was in school. Not what she'd be doing next. But then again, I was just as blind to my own future. I didn't get the feeling that Marin pitied me because of our similarities. Still, for whatever reason, she helped me out many times after that day. When I was injured in training, she treated my wounds. When I lost a fight and had to run through dinner as a penalty, she set aside her food and shared it with me. Oh, she is not gonna last long, is she? Even in a place like that, full of twisted outcasts, there were some people who showed kindness to others. Looking at it that way, maybe it's too early to give up on the world entirely. Not everyone's a saint, but we're not all villains either. The strong might get ahead, but even a weakling like me could find a helping hand. There are plenty of bastards out there I'll never get along with, but every once in a while, I can find someone who's willing to put up with me. That's the way it is for everyone. I'm not going to complain. At times, I'd find myself remembering what something Kazuki told me once. No.
あのね、ユージ。嫌なものを片っ端から排除していけば、いい世の中になるなんて考え方が許されるのは、小学生か独裁者ぐらいよ。まあ、実際あなたは小学生なのだから、惨めで無様に泣き叫んで、誰かが何とかしてくれるのを待つのも許されるような気もするけれど、私の弟としては許されません。
Kazuki, maybe I want to. Like he's just...
あなたも私の弟なら文句を言う前に行動なさい。でもどうしてもダメだという時には私が何とでもするし何とかしてあげる。あなた私の弟でよかったわね。お姉ちゃんありがとうわ。
I feel like, I don't know, something about this line, this entire thing right here. I feel like that's gonna come back later. I don't know, something in my nuggets. And trust me, my nuggets never lie. Thank you. Oh, Nei-chan. There you go. How you fucking feel about that? Jeez. You're saying it wrong, Scott. You're saying things wrong. Right. When Kazuki was alive, I could try anything I wanted. I was allowed to fail. But without her, I'd lost that safety net. No. What if the safety net's always been with you? Oh my god. I could cry all I wanted, but Kazuki wouldn't hear me. I had to do everything by myself now. Counting on others would get you betrayed. Hoping for the best would leave you disappointed. You were the only thing you could truly rely on. And sometimes you had to distrust even yourself. That's the sort of place this was. There were strange things going on in that school. People were always disappearing with no explanation. And sometimes the most rebellious students would abruptly become completely passive and docile, as if their personality had transformed overnight. The opposite wasn't uncommon either. Timid, quiet kids becoming strangely aggressive for no real reason. There were all sorts of suspicious incidences along those lines. But this place had been suspicious enough from the start. And at this point, our classes were covering things you can't read about in any textbook. This school was a machine for the creation of terrorists. We were just the raw materials. Oh God, the death. Okay, we're gonna take a breather here, cause Mr. Oslo over here is making me very uncomfortable with literally everything he does. So let's just. Scott, don't worry, Scott. It's gonna get even fucking worse. Trust me, it's gonna get worse. I can already see the fucking comments right now. It's okay. At least I got Casanova with the timestamp comments. I love those. God damn it.